as I discovered when I opened the front door on VE Day, had thrown in free driving lessons, which would be supplied by his sonny. Oh, Lord, what a sight that sonny was, there on our front porch with his cardboard suitcase on a Tuesday morning. I learned he was to stay with us. Poor Mum. Alas, she never got to put the key in the ignition, and everyone was so upset and busy with the funeral, no one told the young man that he should leave. He had nowhere else to stay, so he unpacked his port and awaited instructions, as he later liked to say. The Ford was parked in our drive, with no sign that it was now part of the deceased estate. My mum was in the Mount Duneed Cemetery, and the new boarder was the only one who helped me go through her things. He said nothing about the car, or about the lessons he had been expecting to give the deceased. He asked me if I knew how to drive. I told him that if he could be home by 6 at night, he could have tea with us. In the midst of all the sadness, this pretty red-cheeked man was a great comfort I could not do without. I held my breath. I cooked for him, and he scraped his plate clean and helped me with the drying up. He was neat. When I cried, he comforted me. He left talcum powder on the bathroom floor. In the nights at Western Beach, when you could hear the forlorn anchor chains of the old warships anchored in Corio Bay, he told me stories of his father, which he thought were funny. These were more important than I knew. In any case, my eyes stung hot to hear that the lovely boy had broken his arm swinging the prop of the wretched father's monoplane, and that the old bully had taught him to land by sitting him in the navigator's seat and thumping his slender back with his fist until he pushed the stick down sufficiently, that he abandoned him to stay with a pair of old Irish bachelors at Balangarook until they had learned to drive their purchase. The sonny was named Titch, although he was sometimes Zack, which was what they called a sixpence, and a Zack was therefore half a shilling or half a bob, which was, of course, his father's name. Forget it. He was always Titch, God Jesus, and it seemed I was put on earth to love your tortured body and your impy, joyous soul. How could I predict, dear Beverly, what sort of life my heart's desire would lead me to? Our dad was still alive on the day I first set eyes on Titch. My babies were not yet born. I couldn't drive a car. We had not yet arrived at the era of Holden versus Ford. There was not even a Redex around Australia reliability trial, although that, the greatest Australian car race of the century, is the story I will get to in the end. I was married the same day I got my driving license. I drove us 100 miles to Warragul myself. After that we moved to Sale, then Burnsdale, and Titch sold Fords for his father, who always short-changed him on commission. My new husband was ideal in almost every way, and I knew that even before I understood his genius, which was the last thing you'd look for in a car salesman. He did not know how to lie, or so it seemed. He never exaggerated, unless to make a joke. He was funny, he was cheeky. He told me he had perfected the art of not being hit, which was just as well, seeing the bars he did business in. We lived in boarding houses and rented rooms and ate whole flocks of mutton, but incredibly we were happy, even if his dad was in the room next door. Sometimes we made ourselves sick with laughing, rolling around the carpet on a Sunday afternoon. That should have been enough for anyone. My father-in-law was always lurking. I did not tell Titch the disgusting things he had suggested to me. He never heard them, thank the Lord. Nor did my husband seem to notice the insults against himself. Dan Bobs was not a handsome fellow, but he preened with his comb so constantly he finally lost his hair. Titch was blind to the vanity. He would sit and listen as the scoundrel bragged endlessly about his exploits. I endured all this for years, until the old man found a Melbourne woman who would tolerate him. When he announced his retirement in the Warragul Express, I did not dare believe it. Dan had a lifetime of cuttings in his scrapbook. He had the first pilot's license in Australia. He had flown planes and got reported when he crashed them.